good in the transitions. Feels a little tall, but not crazy. Welcome back, I'm Tedward, and thanks to Boston Motorsports in Brighton, Massachusetts, we're driving this 2021 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. These are gorgeous, and I feel like Alfa is the underrated champions of cool, somewhat luxurious, fast, sporty cars these days. Anyone that has driven the Giulia TI or the Giulia Quadrifoglio has always reported back that they absolutely love the car and they drive so well. And having just spent some time with the Macan GTS up in the Malibu Canyons and Angeles Crest out west, I am thrilled to be able to compare it against this because they are very different cars, even though they both have a 2.9 liter twin turbo V6, which honestly, when I was driving the Porsche, I thought this seems like an Alfa engine. But wait till you hear this thing. I'm telling you, man, the Porsche wishes it sounded this good. And check the hood. We've got these gorgeous little louvers up here for cooling. This V6 set pretty far back in that engine compartment, near mid-engine. And from what I'm told, this V6 is basically a Portofino V8 with 2 cylinders lopped off of it. So there's some very Italian heritage going on here. The color is called Mazzano Blue. I think it's a little prettier, honestly, because we've got the metallic than the Miami Blue that we had on the Macan. But you know what? I'm not here to pan the Macan either. The Macan is an incredibly stout car. Look at these brakes. We've got the monster yellow calipers. Now, unlike in Porsche land, yellow does not mean carbon ceramic. That is a painted caliper option. 255 tires up front, 285s in the back with these nice wheel arches to make sure that she is all legal, because you cannot have that tire poking out. Loads of room in this thing. I mean, honestly, as far as practicality goes, it's a small SUV. We've all known and lived with these, whether it's an X3, a Macan, or a Stelvio. You know what? It's normal. Let's go out and go for a drive, but first I do want to show you what the rear space looks like because it's worth doing. This car is brand new. We're going to try to be somewhat nice to it, and inside it may not have quite the glitz and glamour of the Porsche, but the stitching, the green and white stitching on this car really adds a lot, and the suede or Alcantara inserts, very beautiful. So let's start it up, go for a drive, and hopefully we don't end up with a Alfa day on a flatbed. I'm kidding. It's fine. It's going to be fine. I'm sure the guys at Boston Motorsports love the fact that I joke about reliability on these cars. All right, let's start it up. Nice start-stop button on the steering wheel. Pretty innocuous, nothing crazy, but if we put it in dynamic mode, there's that beautiful exhaust note we were looking for. I think that sounds a little more fresh than the Porsche. Look at this, it's like they knew I was gonna have a binaural headphone set up in this car. Oh my goodness. One of the things I like the most about this car is the seating position, the steering wheel size. It is, oh man, these are legitimate enthusiast vehicles. And I gotta tell you, the steering racks on these cars, super fast. These are crazy. I mean, you really need to get into supercar territory to have a steering rack this fast. Are you ready for this? Listen to this. Nice little crackle out the back. It's pretty wild that this is the life we live in now, where if you have a family and you want to bring things and haul things and go to the grocery store, you can still do it with a fun SUV. I mean, I know we've had the Macan for a long time, but gotta say, Macan lacks the soul that this thing has. We've also got torque vectoring in the rear diff, so we can kind of power that outside wheel. Ooh, baby. You're gonna want to use these paddle shifters. They're column-mounted paddle shifters. That's the mark of like that supercar Italian DNA for sure. Although I gotta say, for me, even though I like them, they do get in the way sometimes because I'll go to reach for my blinker stock, and because even as a BMW driver, I actually do use my directionals, and sometimes I'm blocked. Sometimes I'm like, oh, because these are really big paddles and they're metal. They feel phenomenal in the hand, but I would definitely need to get used to that just a little bit. And listen to this thing accelerate. How wild is that? 505 horsepower, 8-speed ZF, and this ZF really boogies. Now, that's where the Macan gets the advantage because an 8-speed ZF, no matter how good it is, it's never going to be PDK. PDK is really good. So it's not PDK, unfortunately, but this is as close as it gets to that. And to be honest, if you're driving like normally, if you're going in traffic and stuff, you feel a little less guilty about creeping in traffic with an automatic torque converter rather than a dual clutch, because that dual clutch is going to be slipping that clutch, adding more wear. This is a little more easy to drive in traffic. If you do need to dodge a pothole though, the ridiculously fast steering will get you around it. You got to be aware of it though. I think if you were a new driver, this steering rack might get you into a little bit of trouble. It's going to upset the chassis with very little input, but it's wonderful. Man, the thing Alfa gets right, and I know we're doing this double yellows or single yellow crossing by that inconsiderate, non-driver respecting Mercedes. The thing about Alfa though is they're genuinely made for drivers, and it feels like, I mean, Porsche of course is still made for drivers, but I gotta say, Porsches even have a very Volkswagen-y vibe to them lately, where unless you're pushing them hard, they have that duality where on the low end they feel like Volkswagens, on the high end they feel like race cars. Alfa, however, pretty much always feels like an enthusiast vehicle, which is really cool because bringing back and resurrecting this brand to the American market could have been a huge flop, and I don't know that they're doing as well as they hope to do, but my goodness, are the people who drive them excited about them? I mean, you don't get in this car and have to defend it, and all you have to do is give someone the keys and they'll enjoy it. Reaching beyond this paddle for the blinker. Not much input needed, definitely designed for an Italian pass. Super brilliant. We're going to be kind of nice to it because it's very new. I apologize we're not taking it to redline. Thankfully, it makes all these exhaust pops low down as long as you're in that throttle a little bit and apply a little bit of load. I can't believe how much fun this is to drive. Can't say that about a lot of cars. I would take this to the track, 100%. I would definitely take this to a racetrack. God, I miss COVID traffic. Oh no, don't wish plight upon the greater population so you can have less traveled roads. You need to be decent people. Super low end torque. Now, the difference in character between this 2.9 liter turbo versus the Macan, this has a lot more turbo vibes to it. It feels like, okay, this is where we're building boost. There's a little bit of lag down low and it builds higher. Whereas the Porsche definitely seems to want to disguise those turbos and make it feel naturally aspirated. Both have their pros and cons. Obviously, the Porsche is going to have a more NA feel and be a little more predictable on the pedal. However, this I feel like is a little more fun to drive, and oh, the noise it makes, it's definitely louder. The cold start of the Macan was outrageous for sure. I think this has a little more of that just Italian grumble to it. I thought honestly that the Macan engine had Alfa characteristics until I drove this Alfa. Now I'm like, no, that was German. Okay, one thing I noticed about this vehicle is that at about 62 miles per hour, I heard a little bit of buffeting. Now, doesn't happen over that, doesn't happen under that, but there was a section where I heard buffeting and the windows were not down, the sunroof was not open. That could be a little annoying, and I guess that's just that old Alfa charm. Okay, the other thing about this, I'm trying to turn off my blinker. Come on. There we go, cancel. All right, so unlike a BMW, where if you engage the blinker, you can push it up or down and it will disengage the blinker. This one, if you push it down, so we're blinking to the left, I cannot stop it by holding it to the left. I have to go up, I have to go to the right. It's a little bit annoying. It's still twitchy because we've got this fast steering rack and there's body roll. We're in dynamic mode. The suspension is firmed up. You will feel it move around a bit. So it's not going to be so stiff that it's going to be awful, but you will experience some body roll. I like a little bit of body roll in my street cars. I think it makes things more predictable and it's more fun, and I'm already messing up with this blinker constantly. Alfa problems. The fact that we have SUVs that we're excited to throw into corners though, that's a good thing. Ooh, nice brakes. loads of grip. Little feedback from those tires auditorily. Okay, we'll give that. And the steering sensation, fantastic. You get all this feedback. The throttle mapping is great. This is a really lovely, aggressive kind of vehicle, but not so much that it's trying to trick you into thinking it's aggressive. I mean, it doesn't have to hide anything. It has 505 horsepower. It doesn't need to amplify it. No one's behind us. Let's give a little test of these brakes. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, that feels beautiful. Man, this could be a little race car. This could really do some damage. It just sounds awesome. It just sounds so awesome. Part of me sometimes is surprised that this was an FCA brand. Like, the fact that the same people who are Dodge and Chrysler are making the best drivers' cars. That seems crazy, but it doesn't seem crazy because whenever you drive an SRT product, it's just immediately apparent that they like what they do, that they want their drivers to have an experience, and not a roller coaster experience, a rewarding experience. There's a big difference between that, because there's some cars that want you to have this like, oh, it's fast, we want you to feel like it's fast, we want you to feel like you're going fast, and then there's all these computers that do everything for you, which isn't to say that there's not incredible technology helping you stay on the road, but I do feel like I, the driver, I am the one making this happen. I do not know what is in the back of this car, and I apologize if I have broken anything in the back under braking. Okay, let's go take it out on some lovely back roads. That's where this car really belongs. I mean, what's crazy is that it always seems like marketing gobbledygook when you see gobbledygook. I don't know if that's the word, but it always seems silly when the marketing department tries to like sell you or launch these cars in beautiful places. We're gonna go up to this pass and do these switchbacks on the mountain. It's like, dude, it's an SUV. What are you talking about? Except for the fact that like I would genuinely have fun on a mountain road in this SUV, in this Stelvio. Woo! I love this turning. It's so much fun. All right. It is, what, like 3 o'clock or something, or 2:30? Kids just got out of school. We need to be gentle. Always look at the clock when you're driving. Like, you know, think about it. Are you in an area with a lot of kids? Are there school buses dropping kids off? You don't want to be the guy that's ripping around back roads as there's children walking home. Make sure you've got line of sight before you come around that corner. Never in a million years did I think torque converter automatics would be this fun to drive. I did it. I'm okay. I absolutely cannot get this blinker right. We got it. FCA, Alfa, if you're listening, I genuinely like this vehicle. If you want to give me a long-termer that I can live with, this would be the dream, man. I would happily take one of these. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room with Alfa. It's always going to be a bit of reliability, because they have a reputation. They do. They have had a reputation for a very long time, and it didn't really change much when they revived the brand. But, you know, the early Quadrifoglios, I remember when the first Julius came out, there were issues. There were people that were like, yikes, this thing is doing this and this and this. It seems to have died down a bit. Like, I don't know that many people with big issues on their TIs or anything like that. All the newer cars seem all right. I don't know what's going to happen with these cars, but what I do know is that if you're somebody who's spending $90,000 on a new Stelvio Quadrifoglio, part of the reason you're buying it new is for a warranty. Like, you're gonna have service. You're gonna, like, it shouldn't really matter, other than the fact that, you know, if the car was in the shop, you're gonna have a loaner. I think time will tell what happens with these on the used market. Like, are they going to be good buys in a few years? Because, I mean, it would be crazy if these didn't depreciate quite a bit. And that's going to be fun for people like me who need and rely on depreciation to buy fun cars. I can't go afford the things that I really want. Ooh, the crack. I gotta leave space. I wanna enjoy my favorite on-ramp to the fullest. Oh my goodness, it's open. Thank you. Gotta remember how to do this blinker on the way in. There it is, nice on the brakes. Good in the transitions. Feels a little tall, but not crazy. That's a forgiving drive. Wow, this is satisfying. This is like genuinely satisfying. I am having fun. It's so playful. It's 4,400 pounds. It's not a lightweight, but it really behaves. Next time I'm in California, I'm gonna pressure Alfa so hard to get me a Giulia or a Stelvio Quadrifoglio. These things are phenomenal. Well guys, thank you to Boston Motorsports for giving me the keys to this. It's always funny when they give me a car that I didn't like ask for. They're like, hey, you should try this. You should drive this. I love that because, I mean, this wasn't at the top of my list, but I'm having so much fun. I genuinely had a good time in this car. I think if you're on the fence or if you're someone who's looking at a Macan, honestly, yeah, here's the message. If you're gonna buy a Macan, you're gonna go buy a Macan. Go drive one of these first. Just please, you don't have to buy it. You might not buy it. You might still want the Porsche logo and all the things that come along with Porsche ownership, blah, blah, blah. Go drive this. Just do yourself a favor. Go drive this. They might be hard to find because I've been told that due to the chip shortage, these are in limited numbers at the moment, but please go drive it. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Do not forget to respect the drive at all times. Thank you, of course, to the Patreon supporters, whether you're donating $1 a month, $20 a month, $10 a month, whatever, every little bit helps. It makes this thing happen. And ooh, that truck is ticking. I'm glad that's not me. I'll see you in the next one.